I'm good on Facebook here. So I've got streaming on Facebook as well. And I'm also streaming live on Facebook as well. Hey, and I'm streaming live on YouTube as well too. Fantastic. So I'm streaming live on both here as well too. So, all right, guys, I'm really excited for this session. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for everyone to log on, a few people log on, and I'm going to be talking to you about 3 steps. The 3 steps to become a 3% trader. You're going to absolutely love this. If you're struggling with your trading right now, if you're having a hard time with your trading right now, I guarantee you start to apply these 3 steps to your trading. Let me see if I can adjust this camera a bit. How's that? Is that good? All right, fantastic. So, and I'm going to talk to you about that. And hey, crypto or anything, fantastic. First, you are first, my man. All right, so just logging on right now. Again, guys, if you guys are struggling with your trading right now, if you're having a hard time with your trading right now, then this is going to be one of the most important sessions you'll ever see when it comes to helping you get ahead with your trading. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk to you guys about in this session today. And so I'm just going to give 100Q or 10Q. So that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about in this session today. Again, we'll just give it a few more things. Thanks for all you do. Hey, crypto or anything? No problem, man. No problem, man. I'm glad that you appreciate what you do, what I do here. And my goal is to really ramp up a lot more of this stuff here, a lot more of these videos to really help people when it comes to their trading and so on and so forth. So once again, guys, 3%. 3 major steps to become a 3% trader. What is it that the top 3% of all traders know and do, and how do they approach the market, and how do they become a 3% trader? Meaning the top 3% of all traders, what do they do? How do they approach the market? How do they approach their trading? How do they approach anything when it comes to their trading? What time is it there? Hey, look, where are you coming from, my man? If you guys think that this is going to be beneficial to anyone watching right now, then share it out. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. And because this is just 100% pure content. Once again, guys, the 3 steps to become a 3% trader. If anyone out there right now that you think is going to benefit from this, share it out to them. Help them see this as well too. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that would help me as well too. So anyway, guys. Link will be in the description, but go to freewbstraining.com where you're going to get a free trading course. If you haven't got that free trading course yet, mistakes, chart reading, couple of different trading systems, mindset. I've got a full live training as well too. So go over there, register for the free trading course, freewbstraining.com. Go put your email address in, and then over the next week, I'm going to be sending you a couple of videos per day. Which is going to be about as low as say 15 minutes all the way up to say 30-40 minutes. And I also have a 90-minute training that I'm going to give you as well too. So over the next week, you're going to get those videos, a couple of videos per day, and you're going to absolutely love that. If you're struggling with your trading right now, you need some guidance on chart reading, maybe some mistakes that you're making right now. You don't even know what mistakes you're making right now. Maybe some trading systems, maybe the mindset, anything like that. Full complete trading course, freewbstraining.com. Hey, Luke, I am in Sydney, Australia, and it is 10:30 in the morning. What time is it there, my man? 10:30 a.m. in the morning. Again, guys, in this session, get your pens, get your papers, get your notes ready, because I'm going to talk to you guys about the 3 major steps to becoming a 3% trader and what that means for you and how to start to apply and approach that as well too. So let me do this here. So 7:30 p.m. All right, fantastic. So, all righty. So, you know what, guys? I'm going to get straight into today's session right now. I've been here for about 4 to 5 minutes. I've let a few people log on, and I'm going to start getting into this right now. All right, guys? So get your pens, get your papers ready, because this is going to be a training for you. So the 3 steps to becoming a 3% trader. Let's get straight into it. Step number 1. I even got some notes here as well too. So I look professional in this thing. All right. So step number 1 is your system. Your system. Let's break this down step by step. Your system. Are you currently trading a system, or are you currently trading when you are you getting into the market? Let me move this over here. So there we go. So therefore, I think you can hear me a bit better. So there we go. So your system. Are you currently trading a system, or are you currently trading when you get, or are you getting into the market based on what you hear, based on what you think, but hope or fear, or someone said it was a good idea? Any of those things, if you are doing any of those things, are you getting into the market because you think, hope, or fear, or someone said it, or a YouTube video made it sound so certain that this thing was going to happen that you piled your money into it? If that is you, you're part of the 95% or 97% of traders that will never ever do well in the markets, and you'll see the reasons why as I break this down. So if that's not the case, then how do you make money in the markets? It comes back down to still learning the TC2000 software. Oh, fantastic. Luke, I love the TC2000 software. You probably see me do some videos about that. You know what I mean? Like how I do my scans. It's phenomenal for me to be able to find my trading setups, scan 2,000-3,000 stocks every day to find those setups. It's phenomenal. So anyway, so if that's not the case, then what is it? What is that's going to help you become a good trader? And the very first thing is your system. Do you currently trade a system? That means every time you get into the market, you have a set of rules that you need to apply to the market. Now, that rules, it's not like you have rules for this one setup and then rules for the next setup. No, your rules that you take every single time in the markets, right? So are you actually having some sort of a system? And all that means is a pattern on a chart. That funky trading system, that all that means is, do you have a pattern, a technical setup on the charts? And you explain, and you see the reason why. Some people say, but John, the fundamentals, et cetera, et cetera. Forget the fundamentals for now, okay? If you're a trader, if you're a person that's actively looking to make money from the markets on an income basis, maybe on average per year, then we're not fundamental traders. We're not technical. We're not investors, right? Investors are buying and selling for the long term. I still believe you should apply some technical analysis to that as well too. So anyway, so the pattern. What sort of pattern is your trading setup? So do you actually have a pattern on the chart when it comes to that? See, for me, my pattern, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, to give you a bit of hints, a bit of guidance there. But what sort of pattern are you using when it comes to that? Are you trading the exact same pattern every single time? Because that's all really a trading setup is, right? It's a pattern with an entry, with a trigger of entry on that pattern. Where is your trigger of entry of that pattern? Now, that's the very first thing, is that are you trading that again and again and again and again and again? Because that's where you start, right? Now, I'll give you some when it comes to your trading systems, when it comes to identifying your trading setups and all that sort of stuff. Oh, before I start, guys, I must add a disclaimer. Guys, don't place a trade based on what you see in this video here. There's no guarantees to make money in the markets. This is just general advice to help you become a much better trader, to give you a bit of framework and help you become a much better trader, right? Do the work. Trading's hard. It's difficult. There's no guarantees of making money in the markets. So, with that being said, let me continue here. So, what sort of system? What sort of system do you have? Do you actually even have a system, or you get in the market because you think over fear? So, when it comes down to your pattern, what pattern? All right. So what pattern? If you're trading the market, do you have a pattern? If not, that's where you need to start. Now, a pattern on the chart and a technical entry of that. Do you actually have that? Now, I'll give you some guidance on what I believe is the best, highest probability chance of you doing well in the markets when it comes to a trading system. So, first thing is that you need to have trading rules. Right. So you need to have trading rules. The next thing I must say is have a trading system that is trend following. You know the best, highest probability, right? Because remember, we're talking about probability. The highest probability trades are trading with the underlying direction of the trend. That simply means if you're trading a daily chart, if the weekly trend is going up, then only look for bullish setups, right? So maybe you need your setup, but take those setups only with the underlying direction of the trend. Remember, talk about probability here. If the higher time frame, such as the weekly chart, has been trending down, then only look for bearish setups. That's because remember, you want to be, because the high time frame, that's the trend, right? And you want to continue jumping. That's what the big guys are doing really with that stock. So you want to continue jumping on that, right? So a trend following system is always the most highest probability trades. And what is a trend following? If the market's making higher highs and higher lows, that means it's in an uptrend. So therefore, only look for your setup in a bullish scenario with that. If it's in a downward trend, lower highs, lower lows, then usually I look for bearish setups in that. That will increase that'll increase your success rate tenfold. Now, guidance number 2 when it comes to your trading systems. Guidance number 2 is have a simple plan. A simple plan. You don't need something complicated. You don't need something, outrageous, something like that. You don't need 1,000 indicators. In fact, throw all the indicators out the window because that just complicates things. The only reason why we use indicators is because we're trying to be right with the markets. It's not because we've got some sort of edge or any of this sort of crap, right? So the more I've actually removed the indicators, like if you go back and look at some of my past trades, back 2-3 years ago on YouTube, guess what? You see stochastics, you see Bollinger Bands, a whole variety, 4 moving averages, a whole wide range of stuff, right? What do I trade with now? A couple of moving averages and volume. And I switch between candlestick and open highlight close charts. Normally candlestick because it allows me to see most of that. But keep it simple. Keep it simple. We don't, remember, it's all about probability here. We want to keep it really, really, really simple. The more complicated your system is, the more chance of you being confused. You don't want that. You want to just remember this, okay, is this a setup, yes or no? And that's the thing that I have found. And over the last 15 years of trading, that the more that I've actually removed that stuff and just focused on, is this a good trading setup? Then if the answer is yes, then that's all I need to know is focus on that. And also what I want to say is that when you're about to get into the market, ask yourself, if it's a bullish or bearish setup, is there any, over the last 12 months, 12 to 24 months, is there any resistance or support on the chart that could potentially dampen that success of that setup? So even though you might have a really good setup, you might have a good chart pattern with an entry setup, you might be trading with the weekly trend, but what happens if you get into that and suddenly you notice over the last 12 months on that weekly chart that there's resistance there? There's been at least a few trades in the last couple of weeks, bullish setups, that met my rules 100%. But guess what? Over the last 12 to 24 months, there was a lot of areas of resistance. There was a couple of bullish setups, but on that weekly chart, there's a lot of areas of resistance that said to me, don't get into this trade because it's a low probability setup. Even though the whole setup was there, I had a really good setup, which for me really is make sure the market is trending. So it's actually high highs, high lows. I'm looking for a gradual pullback with small candles. And then I'm looking for a breakaway candle with big volume. So trading with the trend, pullback with small candles, low volume with those small candles. So it's actually there. And then the nice breakaway candle, breaking past previous resistance on that daily chart with big volume. I just told you my trading system. Now, I make sure I'm trading with the weekly chart, et cetera, but that's how simple my system is. That's how simple, guys, you don't actually have to have a complicated system, right? But the thing is that if you notice, you just go back test that system. Go back test. When the 52 moving average is pointing up, look for periods where they actually had a pullback with small little candles for about a week or so, or sideways for about a month, and then a breakaway bar with good volume, really good volume with that breakaway bar. Go see what happens. I guarantee you 70, 80% of the time it runs on. The other times you don't. Guys, give me a like and give me a yes if you're enjoying this so far in the chat box. I really would like that. Give me a yes in the chat box and give me a like if you're really enjoying this so far. I'd really appreciate that. All right, so let's actually continue on here, guys. All right, so again, I really want to help you out here on this Sunday morning here where I am right now, and I really want to give you some guidance and give you some some tips and some things are really helping me forward, right? So I just told you my trading system, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't. But remember, it's all about, do you actually have a trading setup, right? Do you have a trading setup? Now, remember, if you actually go back and watch my last video that I did yesterday and where I actually showed you my trading setup, guess what? Every single one of those trades, you'll be able to see exactly what happened. Pull back with small candles and a breakaway candle with big volume. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you're complicating your system, if you're complicating your setup, you're making it too complicated. Throw out the indicators, throw out everything like that because it's not helping you at all. It really, 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 really isn't. All right, it truly isn't helping you at all. So make sure that you So essentially, there's a few things when it comes down to your trading system. One, are you actually having a trading setup? If you don't, keep it simple. Throw the indicators out, and I just gave you a few different things. All right, I just gave you a few different things that's going to help you with your trading setup. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Look for patterns that repeat in the markets. Remember, it's not. I talk about that. That's step number one. All right. There's about 3 major steps to become a 3% trader. That's step number one. Step number two is once you've got your trading set up, and it's simple, think in probabilities, not certainties. This is where so many traders go wrong. You may have a system that's very simple. Now, when you're approaching your how to develop a trading system and you're looking for a setup, don't look for a setup that's going to make you money every time. Be realistic. Even if a system does 65% of the time, it makes you a profit, but I'll get the questions after this. After, all right, Luke. So I can see you and a few other people have some few questions. So I just want to get this out so I don't drag it on for half an hour. You know what I mean? And then I'll get the questions answered afterwards. So this is one thing, right? When you're looking at developing a system, think a system like, okay, all I'm looking for a system to do is if I'm only 60% right, and I make a 1-to-1, i.e., if I trade 5% of my account and I'm risking 50% to make 50%, you're going to make money, right? You're going to make money. But think in probabilities. Now, you can do things to increase your probability, like trading with the trend and everything I talked about in step number one, trading system. Step number two, think in probabilities. Now, when you're trading, think in probabilities, not certainties. Think in probabilities, not certainties. This is something that just gets traders so unwind, and why they don't move forward in such a big way. And that is they're trying to be right with the market. They're trying to make money on every single trade. They're trying to make a profit on every single trade. And that's not how successful trading in the long term really is. Remember, it's called a trader. T-R-A-D-E-R, a trader. We're trading the markets. And when you're trading the markets, even though you have a successful trading system, it's called a win-loss ratio. And you can never know, doesn't matter how good you are, you can never know upfront which ones are going to be the wins and which ones are going to be the losses in your win-loss ratio. You can never know that. So, and even if you did have your trading system and you took a trade before, and that setup that you took generated profit, guess what? You could take that exact same setup the next time and it be a losing trade. Why? Because every single trade you take has a random outcome, but it's built in with a probability of an outcome. Every single trade you take has a random outcome, but it's built in with a probability of an outcome. And the only way for you to see the probabilities of an outcome is if you have your one setup that you're taking every single time and nothing else. The one setup that you're taking every single time and nothing else. And then you take that again, right? You take that all through there. Or you take that 20, basically take that 20 times. All right, so you take that 20 times in a row without fail. It's not like, well, I'm going to choose this setup. I'm going to take this trade because I think it's a good trade. No, if it meets your rules, you take it. No matter what you think, hope, or fear, you take that setup. Because what a lot of people do is that they may have a trading system. Now they try to be right with the market because they're trying to make money on every single trade. That's not how trading's done. And I guarantee you, when you start to pick and choose these trades, even though you've done your back testing, you've done your research, and you know this is a really good setup that's going to give you, say, a 70% win-loss ratio or 65% win-loss ratio, whatever it is. Now, guess what happens? We start to pick and choose. Guess who's done that plenty of times? Me, right? Me. Done that plenty of times. Pick and choose, pick and choose, pick and choose, pick and choose, right? And so what happens is now you're trying to be right with the market. Guess what? The market's always smarter than you. You can never be that smart to predict which trade is going to generate a profit, which trade is not. And I guarantee you, Murphy's Law, when you start to pick and choose trades, thinking you know exactly which trade is going to generate a profit and which trade is not going to generate a profit, you're going to pick the trades that's going to end up being a losing trade, and you're not going to take the trades that's going to be a winning trade, because you're trying to be right with the market. And the reason why you're trying to be right with the market is because, one, you have this thing in your mind that if this is a losing trade, even though it meets my plan 100%, if this is a losing trade, one, I am wrong, which is not right, the right way to think. It's just part of the loss ratio. And secondly, you try to put too much money on one trade and you can't really afford to have that loss. So guess what? You just never, ever know. And a successful trader says, okay, I have a win-loss ratio. I'm taking this trade right now. Is this going to be part of the loss ratio in the win-loss ratio? And is this trade going to be part of the win in the win-loss ratio? The win-loss ratio there. You can never know upfront which trade is going to generate your profit or not. But so many people over the years, you know, especially in this, guys, over the last 15 years of trading now, this is the thing that's been amazing, have made the biggest difference, especially in the last 6 to 12 months of my own career, and really understanding this. It's taken me a long time to really get what this means. Like thinking probabilities, not certainties. There is no certainties. And every time I try to be right with the market, I pick and choose trades. Guess what? 90% of the trades that I don't take run on for profits. And I go, there we go. I knew I should have been on that thing. There we go. I knew it should have been that thing. There we go. But when I don't think like that, I'm like, my job is just to take the trade no matter what I think, hope, or fear, because, hey, it meets the rules, and have no expectations. Actually have two expectations. The one is that this could be a losing, which it could be part of the win-loss ratio, and this could be a win, which is part of the win-loss ratio. But you can never know up front. You can never know up front what trade is going to generate a profit, which trade is not. And once again, and the only reason why us humans have problems with that, especially us men, right? Because we're egotistic bastards sometimes. Like, oh, and if us men could just get out, that's why women are such better traders most of the time, right? And so us men, especially like myself, I understand this because I'm a guy, right? It's like we have this ego, and if we get into a trade, we make money or we make a profit. Hey, Mike, if we make a profit, right? Guess what happens? Guess what happens? Like, oh, I got that right. But if we have a losing trade, oh man, I got that wrong. Damn. It's like, no, we can't think like that. You can't think like that. Now, yes, you need to think like that if you're just taking trades because you think, hope, or fear. Like there's really no setup approach. There's nearly no rules approach with your setups. See, as I was saying before at the start of the session, like with my trading system's simple. I have a step-by-step rules approach. Does this setup meet my rules? Yes or no? If it is yes, then there's my job is not to think about it. My job is just to take it, have good risk management, and talk about that in step number 3. But have good risk management, good money management. All right? So your job as a trader is just to take the trade no matter what you think, hope, or fear. So step number 1 is have your exact trading setup. And I gave you a few things there to guide you in setting up, having a good setup. Step number 2 is even with that setup, thinking probabilities, not certainties, because you just never know which trade is going to generate a profit, which one's going to be a loss. Now, you only apply that if you're taking your setup every single time, without fail. Each trade look very, very similar to each other in 20 times in a row. You can't have that thinking probabilities if you're just taking trades and this setup looks like this, and you took the next trade because of this reason, and this next trade because of this reason, and this next trade because you thought it was a good idea, and this trade over here because a YouTube video said, and this trade over here because a newsletter said. That's not how long-term. Remember, guys, remember, we're talking about long-term success in the markets. That's not long-term successful there. You may have a good profit, but then boom, you go straight, right? So, and the third step in the three major steps to become, I should say 3 major steps to become a 3% trader is smaller fish wins the race always than a big, large fish. Let me explain what I mean here. Whenever I get into my trades, a lot of my trades will give me a 20, 30, 40% profit, right? Sometimes a 50% profit. So, and it'll say, here you go. Here you go. Here's some profit, right? Now, it may not be the profit I like. It might be, I might be saying, I'm looking for 100% profit out of this trade. And that could also be a devastating impact as well too, right? Trying to say, okay, well, I'm only going to get out of this trade once it meets a certain profit. If we read the market properly, sometimes that smaller fish is always better. And I have found that smaller fish are better. That I have found that that by consistently doing that, if I get into a trade and the very next day I'm at 30% profit, like VGR was this week, I'm taking it off the table saying, thank you very much for that. I'm not going to go do that again and again and again and again. Or I might get into a trade, it might go against me, stop loss. All right, I'm out. Or I might get into a trade, I might have to wait for a few weeks for it to actually eventually start to, I just lost my train of thought just there because I read a question. So smaller fish are always there. Once you get into the trade, and if the market if it starts moving your direction and you've got a nice profit there, just get out and say, you know what, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much. I'm great for this. Let's go do it again. My count has always grown faster when I've approached the market in that way, where I'm not looking to make a lot of money. I'm just looking to get in. When it runs off for me for a little bit, I'm looking to get out, even at a 30% profit, which is a low end profit for me. Generally it's around 50 to 100%. That'll be the profit range. And then sometimes even a couple of 100% on, a small percent of my trades. Say 5 to 10% of my trades would give me that sort of 100 to 200% profit because I trade options. But within that, the small fish are better than this. This actually ties in number 3, which also ties in with everything else, is that it's so important that when you're trading an amount where the wins are not exciting you and the loss is not hurting you. And this comes down to your position sizes. The wins are not exciting you and the loss is not hurting you. Because remember, we want to be in a situation where we have the mental state to take these trades no matter what we think, hope, or fear. Because we never know, remember? We never know up front which trade's going to work out, which trade's not going to work out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So the only way to do that is trade an amount where the wins are not exciting you and the losses are not hurting you. Because remember, we just, okay, our job is just to take the trades. Take the trade, take the trade, take the trade, take the trade. Our job is to take the trades no matter what we think, hope, or fear. After you've done the back test and research and everything I'm talking about here. So I've always found that once I apply these 3 rules, especially rule number 3, or they're all important, and I start to trade a smaller percent of my account. If I trade, say, 20% of my account in the markets, now I'm trading too much of a risk because now I could potentially have a 10% loss on my account. Because I can have around 40 to 50% loss, maybe a bit more sometimes, on my position sizes. But if I'm trading 5% of my account and I know that average I can have a 2.5% loss, guess what? I'm now comfortable with that loss. All right, so I am now comfortable with that loss, and I need to be comfortable with that loss because guess what? I never know, is this trade going to generate the profit or is it going to generate loss? And guess what? The most important thing for you, for your long-term success in the markets, is your consistency. How consistent are you at just taking the setups when it's there, taking the trades when it's there, and not thinking about it really? Your success will come down to how consistent you are at being patient for your setup, being disciplined when your setup's there to get into it without you trying to be right and wrong and think, hope, or feel, all that sort of stuff for the markets. And the only way to do that, right, is trade an amount that that is going to allow you to take that trade. And if this loss is part of the loss ratio, then guess what? It's not going to hurt you. But if it's part of the win-loss ratio, guess what? It's not exciting you. But here's what I have found though. Because you're trading a small amount of your account, you now stick to the rules more. And because you stick to the rules more, guess what? You end up taking trades where you wouldn't in the past. Now, if they actually are profitable trades, because you're not trying to pick and choose, and your account actually grows. My account grows so much faster when I trade 5% of my account on any given one trade, having roughly a 40-50% loss. Now, that 5% is actually at risk. I could lose 100% overnight, so I know that up front, right? But roughly 40% of that is what's at basically stake there, really, with a loss for me. But my account grows faster when I start to apply this. I'm not looking to get rich. I'm just looking to trade small amount, get in, take the profit, next trade, next trade, next trade. My account always grows faster when I trade 5% of my account in the markets than 20% of my account in the markets. Now, why is that? It all has everything to do with up here. Because if I'm now trading 20% of my account, guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to take trades that I think are not going to run on, which do run on. I am going to get into a trade, and it may go against me a little bit, and my system should say, listen, you need to stay into this thing right now because there's no need to get out of it. Or I might be very nervous, and I get out of it, and it runs on. So that all ties down with the smaller fish are better. In the long term, my account always grows faster by trading smaller amounts of my trades so I can stay emotionally balanced. So I'm not trying to be right or wrong with the markets. I'm just trading the markets as it is. Because the successful traders never try to predict what's going to happen. You can never know up front what's going to happen. That's not how successful traders trade the markets. A lot of people think there's these successful traders out there that they know what's going to happen and all this sort of stuff. Like, no, it just doesn't work like that. How successful traders trade the markets, and I'm not saying I'm perfect here, guys. Like, I'm saying, like, I continue every day to work on these things. These three things. Getting better at identifying good quality setups in the markets. Getting better at thinking in probabilities. Even if I've had a couple losses in a row, which are going to happen. Newsflash, it's going to happen. Am I starting to get very, very, have I just had a lot of consecutive profits in a row? And am I now starting to up my position sizes? If so, I'm now likely to get smacked. It's just, it's in the bag. So all these things that I continue to work on as well too, guys, like all the time, as I continue to grow and grow and grow in the trader that I am to this day. But over the last 15 years of being involved in markets, I'm now sharing with you exactly these things that have made a massive difference in my trading, and the things that I look at my mentors and they're so good at doing, and the reason why they make millions. I have one private millionaire trader. He's not in the public, so I can't actually say his name because I've signed an NDA basically. But he's my coach, and he's so good at being so disciplined, only taking his one setup. He just waits for it. He has a really high win-loss ratio. And everything I'm talking about here, he just applies so diligently. And a really, really, really successful trader. And so that's probably one of the biggest things out there that I find when it comes to trading, when it comes to trading the markets, is people trying to make the big win, right? People trying to have this one trade right now being the big profitable trade. Guess what? I guarantee you, every single time you go buy something because you think that this is going to be the thing that's going to make you a millionaire, it always is the opposite to what you think is going to happen. Every single time. Guess what idiot has done that many a times? Multiple six-figure trades. This guy. That's how I can say it. I have lost multiple six figures in the markets at any given one time because of doing that. Because I got into something, and guess what? If I go back to my foundations, which is what are the charts are telling me, I was completely going against what even the chart was telling me. Or the chart's saying downward trend, lower highs, lower lows. But you know what? I'm going to go against this thing because This big fundamental, right? This big fundamental, it's so there. And I've just read this report. Oh my goodness. It's like people trying to short Tesla right now because it doesn't make any money and it's the biggest, shortest company out there. I guarantee you Tesla's going to keep going up. Doesn't matter what the fundamentals think, or it doesn't matter what the fundamentals say. Guess what? For the last probably 3 or 4 years, all I've heard is Amazon's PE ratio is just crazy. Why would any investor try to keep buying it? But they just do. Now there will come a top. So just to recap here, guys, the 3 steps to become a 3% trader is 1. What's your system? Do you even have a system? Which means a chart set up with an entry set up on the chart. Could be anything. And a few things to guide you with that. 1, make sure you're trading with the trend on that chart. I like to trade the daily chart, so I'm making sure I'm trading when the market's actually in a trend. If the market's going sideways, I don't like trading sideways markets because it's very volatile, very unpredictable. I like to jump in the markets when the markets are actually moving up or down. The market's not doing much. I don't want to jump in that thing. It's very unpredictable. All about probability, remember. So I'm looking to jump on the trend. So if I'm trading the daily chart, if I'm trading the daily chart and I'm looking for that setup, I'm trading the daily trend. I want to make sure so that setup also applies with the weekly trend. So if I've got a nice bullish setup and the market's moving a nice bullish setup, and I look at the weekly chart and that's actually been overall down on the weekly chart overall, guess what? I won't take that because now I'm going against that big weekly trend. That's a very low probability trade. I'll only take trades with the direction of that trend. Now, once I do have a good setup, either bullish or bearish on that daily chart, and I'm jumping in when the markets are actually moving up or down, not just going sideways. And if I look for a bullish setup, like happened in the last couple of weeks, and I look at my weekly chart, and I'm seeing there's a lot of areas of resistance there for the last couple of years. I try not to go back too long because you can look at that, but last say 1 to 2 years, that's what I'll look at. If there's any areas where the weekly charts had a lot of problems there, I won't take that because it's a very low probability trade. Remember, it's all about increasing the probability and having these rules in place. The second thing that we talked about here is thinking probabilities, not certainties. There is no certainty. Stop trying to be right with the markets. Your job is to have the setups, take the setups, and no matter what you think, hope, or fear, your job is to continue to move forward and continue to take those trades, no matter what. Because you're trying to be right with the market, you're always going to be wrong with the markets. You can never know which trade is going to generate the profit, which is going to be part of the win-loss ratio. You can never know which trade is going to be the loss, which is in the win-loss ratio. You can never know up front. And the only way to do that is number 3, which is smaller fish are better, which means take the income. All right, which simply means when you get into your setup, even if it's a smaller profit than what you're used to, and the market's saying here's a profit, don't say, well, I'm looking for more. No, just say, you know what, I'm happy with that right now. I've been in this trade for a little while. I'm going to take that profit, say thank you very much for that profit. Let's go do that again. And the only way to do that is and the only way to do all these steps, especially number 2 and number 3, especially thinking probabilities, is you need to trade a small amount on your account where the wins are not exciting you and the losses are not hurting you. And if you can trade that, you can now become a trader where you trade the markets on an emotional balance. You'll be able to stick to your plan a lot more and not trying to be right with the market. And therefore, your account is likely to grow a lot faster by doing that than trying to look for this one big win. Woo! Guys, give me a thumbs up and give me a yes in the chat box or something like that if you guys enjoyed this session today. Really, really wanted to lay the foundation for you guys and really give you guys the nuggets of what it takes to get ahead in these markets. All right. So I'm excited for that, guys. Really, really, really excited to do this today. And I'm really excited that this is going to really, really help a lot of people out. I can guarantee it. Look at my hair today. All right. So let's go and have a All right, cool. So I'm gonna get into some Q&A right now, guys. So let me start with some Q&A right now. I say all the time. I'm gonna stop saying Let's say all the time. So guys, Q&A. If you guys have any questions, then I'm going to answer those questions for you right now. There's always a bit of delay here, I realize. All right, let me actually go through these. Let me go through these live Q&A sessions for you guys right now, and then we'll see what. Let me do this here. All right, live Q&A. Let me pop out this chat here. I don't really need to see myself. All right, let me go through this here, and let me go through. Let's go through. Jeremiah says, yes, I buy 5% up and 5% down. If I make 5% and have too many shares, I sell. Okay, then, Jeremiah. Okay, fantastic. The thing is that if you have too many shares when you buy, then you shouldn't be buying that many at the stake, right? Because obviously, yeah. Good evening, fellas. Hey, Anthony. Hope you're doing well, man. Opening range breakout. Hey, Trader Zone. Hope you're doing well, man. Let's go. Sam. Hey, John. Watched your story. Really inspiring. Hey, Sam. No problem, man. I'm glad you enjoyed that as well. Is that set up for swing trading over days? Cool hand Luke, my man. Cool hand Luke. The thing is this, is that it's not the setup. Remember, okay, it's not the, hey, Mike, how you doing, man? It's not the setup, right? So I do look to get into the market because I'm trading a daily chart. But remember, my system is based on the chart. And please remember, guys, it's not the system, all right? Please remember, it's not the system that's going to generate you the profits. It's everything I've talked about in this session so far. Doesn't matter what you trade. What's going to generate profits long term? You being consistent. That's the profits. So for me, I like to trade the daily chart, and so I'll hold it anywhere from 1 to 5 days, sometimes up to a few weeks, depending on the market. So like I'm in one trade right now for over a week, 1 to 2 weeks. And I'm still waiting for this thing to give me a direction, whether it's going to be part of that loss ratio or part of that win ratio. I don't know. So I'm going to basically wait for that and wait for it to, tell me that. I hope I picked, let me go control. All right, cool. All right. Sorry about that. Let me now continue now through here. So yeah, so I guess a cool hand, like what I was looking at there is what I was saying is that these swing trades, that is because I trade the daily chart. But guess what? You can trade the exact same setup that I trade. Now remember, please, it's not, most people just focus on the setup. It's like, but you can approach that exact same setup. Like I'm looking right now to trade some short-term Bitcoin. On an hourly chart, guess what? Using the exact same approach. It's not like it's, well, this is a stock trading system and this is a Forex trading system. Like, no. Every chart out there does the exact same formations, does the exact setups. So that's my system, and I can approach it. If I want to start trading small time frames, such as a 1 or 5 minute chart, and using the 15-minute chart as the trend, or the 60-minute chart as the trend, and the 1 minute chart, 5 minute charts as the entry signals, and make sure I'm trading with that. But I'm looking for the bigger trend using that. You can apply it to anything. Well, now I'm going to be in and out within the markets within minutes. It's just based on bars, not really whatever system. If you're trading an hourly chart and you're looking to trade with that daily trend. So if I'm trading an hourly chart, like I'm looking to do some Bitcoin stuff, I'm looking to trade the hourly chart. Guess what? I'll look for the hourly setup, trade with the trend, etc., etc. And then I'm looking at the daily chart to make sure I'm trading with that overall daily trend that it's in at that time. And then so therefore, yeah, I could be in it for a few hours. I could be in it for whatever. It's like, yeah. Now, when I trade, the reason why I trade the daily chart is because I get up first thing in the morning. I get up first thing in the morning and I trade. I trade the. I'll talk about what I'm laughing at in just a minute. I would take. Yeah, the reason why I do that is because I like to get up first in the morning, trade, get my trading done within an hour or so, and then see what happens over a couple of day period. I don't really like sitting in front of the screen the whole day. It's not really my thing. I like getting out and doing other things. I actually start to get bored, and it's just not the way who I am as a person. If you can sit in front of the screen the whole day and be disciplined and be patient and wait for your setup, then you can do well. Jemariah, I was actually laughing at you, Jemariah. You said down 5% on one share of GLD. Should I buy more? And then you said small fish. And then you said never take a loss. If you listen to anything I said right now, Jemariah, in this session, you'll know exactly that. Guess what? Taking losses are part of trading, my man. Now, let's actually go to your question. Down 5% on one share. Should I buy more? What's your plan say? Oh, wait, you don't have a plan? Why are you even in the market then? Don't just buy because you think it's going to go up. Exactly everything I've said in this session so far. Never trade based on what you think, hope, or fear. Only take a trade or position the markets because it's met your trading plan, your trading rules. And no, you're not going to have a trading rule plan for this one setup and then trading plan rule for this setup. Like, no. What are your rules? So, and right now, my technical analysis on GLD says, why the hell are you even buying GLD? It's in a downtrend. Sellers are in control. Don't fight the market. Why do people try to short the market when it's going up and buy the market when it's going down? I don't get that. If the market's making lower highs, the sellers are in control. Don't try and buy the market because I think you can continue to make lower highs. This is what I told some of my private clients at the start of the year. And they just didn't listen to me. I remember one guy, he's like, you bought all these cryptos. And I'm just like, don't buy the cryptos right now. The weekly charts are making lower highs and lower highs and lower highs. Yes, we may get some short-term rallies on the daily chart, but guess what ultimately happened? It kept getting knocking down, kept getting knocking down, kept getting knocking down. It's not until, if you're looking to buy something and hold it for a couple of months, potentially, or maybe even years, guess what? You need to have that weekly chart turning around. And if you're looking to buy some shares, if you're looking to buy some shares in anything, and you're looking to buy something and hold it for long term, guess what? My best thing is to wait for that market to, like cryptos. I'm looking to buy some cryptos long term, by the way. I think some of the cryptos actually have some long term legs. But I'm not going to get in now when the sellers keep pushing it down, when it's very, very clear to me on the chart, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. They keep knocking it down. Why would I be jumping when I know the big guys that keep selling this thing off? I'm going to wait for the chart to tell me it's turned around and then jump on that. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a nice higher high in the weekly chart, nice pullback on that weekly chart. I'm looking for that weekly chart to turn around. As soon as that weekly chart's turn around, so it gives me a nice first higher high, higher low, I'm looking to jump in on that thing. I'm looking to have a stop below the swing low. So I might get into the market and I might buy that, and I might have have a 10% risk on that trade. Guess what? I'm having a 10% risk on that trade. But now I'm looking for the unlimited upside. And as soon as this market runs on, say 5 or 10% to the upside, guess what I'm doing? I'm bringing my stop to break even. I'm bringing my stop to break even. I'm bringing it up there. Now, guess what? Now I'm just going to let the thing go. If I believe there's long-term potential, now no matter what happens, I can't make a loss on that trade. That's how you should approach long-term investing. If you're looking to hold something for long-term, don't just hold it long-term because you think it's a great idea, especially when it's going down. Wait for the chart to turn around. Don't take my word for it. Look back, go back in 2016. Go back to 2016 when gold and silver actually did go for a big bull run in 2016. Look at the chart. Oh, look, the market made a higher high, came down. It made Amy the goat. That's funny. So yeah, so don't trade against that trend. Just don't trade it. Buy it only when it's going up. Sell it when it's only going down. But I have a trading setup and so on and so forth. So, you know, and again, guys, these cryptos could just continue going down and down and down for many, many years to come. So the hold and hope and pray right now is never a good idea. The way that I approach my investing all the time is I just NASDAQ, I just shared with you what I think is a good pattern in the markets. But NASDAQ, it's not all NASDAQ, even you've come to my live sessions for these last few times, my man. It's not about the pattern. It's about the consistency of you trading that pattern. That's what matters. So yeah. So don't try and fight this trend, because guess what? Bitcoin could be going back down to $100. Oh, John, that's impossible. You don't understand. Guess what? That's what people didn't say. That's what people didn't say at 17,000, 15,000, 12,000, 10,000, 8,000, 7,000, 6,000. Look what's happening with Bitcoin right now. It's getting hammered again. We could be going down now to break the 6,000 mark. Everyone's getting excited after. Like you just don't know. Never trade based on what you think, hope, or fear. Wait for the chart to turn around. Again, guys, don't take my word for it. Go back and look at any of the markets, any big bull and bear markets. Never. Where is Hyper John? Do you know what time it is? It's ginger and green tea time. That's what time it is. No, it's not, Gemini. You said easier said than done, buying, going up, selling, going down. No, Gemini. If the market's making higher highs and higher lows, you're only looking for bullish setups. If the market's making lower highs and lower lows, you're only looking for bearish setups. It's that simple. Let me continue on now with some questions here. John, what do you think about option trading on the ASX? The spreads and liquidity look shit a lot of the time. Is that why you trade US options? Don, yes, that's one of the reasons why I trade US options, because of the spread and so on and so forth. I do have one of my mentors who's a private trader. I'm actually getting some notes and stuff off him very shortly, which is fantastic. Another private trader that I have access to about three private traders who do really well themselves. He only trades the XJO, which is like the S&P market. So he trades the XJO only, the indexes, a lot of liquidity, doesn't gap, and it doesn't gap as much, and so on and so forth. So if I am actually starting to look to maybe do some stuff on the Australian market, but probably spending 30 minutes a day on it. How about adding the 4-step instrument selection? I've been trying to day trade the ES for a while, and nothing seems to be working consistently. Trader Zone. See, my man, it's not about Trader Zone. It's not about you. See, you've been trying to trade, but nothing seems to be working consistently. It's probably because, one, you're not following the 3 steps I talked about here, Trader Zone. One, you don't even have a trading setup that you're looking for. Secondly, you're getting involved with that setup. Thirdly, you're now over position sizes and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of things that goes into it not working correctly. I know for a fact my mentor, who makes millions of dollars a year, between 3 and 5 million a year and growing, he trades the ES and it works every single month. Like this, the plan works every single time. What doesn't make the plan work every time is you just go back to basics. One, do you have your trading setup, your chart pattern with your entry setup, with your entry setup? your chart pattern with the entry candle or the entry bar. If you have that, have you done some back testing? What's your average win-loss ratio? Then when you start the trade, are you getting involved with it? Are you picking and choosing? And so on and so forth. So can I trade my hot burrito for a cow? I have a cheeseburger. What will you trade for it? There's some gold right now. Also have high quality 50,000 cow. All right, cool. I traded my wife for 55 and got 55%. I'm gonna go. Hold crypto for 2 years. Hold, hope, and pray never works. Wait for the my general recommendations around anyone trading cryptos right now is not to be in cryptos. Get what you can get back out of it. Wait for it to turn around, then jump back on the trend. I.e., wait for that weekly chart to start giving higher highs, higher lows. It's not going to go straight up like that. You're not going to miss the boat. The reason why people are trying to buy right now is because they're fearful of missing out. And guess what happens? Every time you're fearful of missing out, you actually miss out on profit. Guess what? Guess who that happened to? Guess who that has happened to many times? Me. Bitcoin is up 100% for the last 12 months. Really? Isn't that interesting? A lot of people say, like, look what happened in the last 12 months. It doesn't matter what happened in the last 12 months. It doesn't matter what happens, in the last 2 years. All that matters is what's happening right now. That's all that matters. Let's go here. What's the best pattern? On NASDAQ, I talked about that. I'll send you new videos for $30. No thanks. What do you trade? What do you trade first thing in the morning? What market? Mike, I trade the US market, and I trade one simple setup. I take the setup. 20-30% of the time, I have a loss. 70-80% of the time, I have a profit. Can I tell you which ones are going to be the losses? No. Black, white, spotted. The bigger the muscles, the better the meat. Where is Hyperjohn? Is this cool? Disgusting, that tea. Oh, really? Guess what? It's longevity, my man. It's all about longevity. It's all about health. And that's what it is for me. Oh, really? Thanks, Team Selection. Love your work, my man. Now get out of here. All right, I'm going to. How do I boot a user out of this chat box? This is the first time I've done this. Boom. All right, user has been gone. I just booted him out. See ya. I end up lost money when I think I can't miss out. So the trade. So true. Exactly right. Yes. OSTK, is it going to reverse? What are the charts saying to you? Is it better to trade penny stocks or options? Neither are better. It's just it's not the penny stock. It's not the options that are going to make you money. It's you having a plan and following that plan every time. People say, well, I tried Forex, let me try options. It's like these instruments out there, they're the things that's not going to make you money. Your ability to make money from the markets is your ability to be able to follow these 3 steps. Do you have a system? Are you thinking of probabilities? Are you trading enough with the wins and so on and so forth? Any charts today? No, my man. No. This is what's important to you, my man. 99 silver. This is what most traders are lacking when it comes to trading. Charts are just charts. I'll do more charts during the week, but so you trade using daily charts. What's your experiences with small time frame? Trader Zone. I talked about that a minute ago. Okay, Trader Zone. A chart is a chart is a chart. Whether it's a 1 minute E-mini chart, a 10-minute E-mini chart, a daily stock chart, a 15-minute stock chart, a weekly Forex chart, they're all the exact same thing. They all do the exact same patterns. Even if it's a monthly oil chart, People think that these are different markets, so they do different things. Like, no, they all make peaks and troughs. They all make highs and lows. And it's our job as a trader to read what's happening in the market. Hey, Emerson, our job as traders to read what's happening in the market right now to gauge who's in control. And what phase are we in? Because there's really two main phases that the stock goes in. It goes through a price phase when the market's actually moving in a direction. That's only when I'm looking for trades. Or is it in a time phase where it's resting, pullback, counter trend, whatever you want to call it? Now, if it is in that phase, resting, pullback, counter trend, I don't want anything to do with that thing. Why? Because it's very volatile, very unpredictable. So once you understand that, how to trade with the trend, how to understand what phase your stock is in, or how to understand what your market look is in, doesn't matter whether it's a 1 minute chart, they all do the exact same thing, and you can apply the exact same analysis to really understand the market. That's the reason why once you have a really good trading setup based on the chart itself, you know, guess what, guys? My daily stock charts that I look for, I trade options over. Remember, it's not the options that are going to make money. It's my ability to get the direction right. It's going to make money on an average basis. And also, I apply that exact same rules to an hourly Bitcoin chart. Guess what? That thing's had like an 80% success rate over the last couple months since I started looking at it. I'm potentially looking to start to do some hourly Bitcoin short-term trades. Get in on an hourly setup and hold for a few hours, maybe more. Maybe 1 hour, and that's it. But guess what? It's the exact same setup. Do you buy and sell between the ask and bid? Yes. When I'm trading options, yes. That's because I only trade options right now. So whenever I'm looking to get into the market, yes, I'm always looking to trade between. I never just buy sell at the market, because you're always buying and selling at the worst price. So, well, anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's session. I didn't expect to go this long, but I always do, because I just love adding value to you guys. Guys, if you haven't gotten my Flow of Success book, if you guys are interested in more of the actual mindset, law of attraction, all these different things that help you move ahead in your life, in every area of your life, then there's a link in the description, or go to Amazon and type Flow of Success John Howe, and you'll be able to see that book there. If you haven't gotten my free trading course yet, then freewbstraining.com. Go get that free trading course right now, guys, because it is free. It's 100%. And I'm going to teach you everything from the biggest mistakes that you're making right now to top 3 chart reading methods, understand what's happening in the markets right now, a couple of different trading systems you can start to approach, mindset. I've got a free 90-minute training. So over the next week, I'm going to start sending that out to you. So freewbstraining.com to start getting that. And that'll help you. If you don't know how to read the charts, then that's where you should start alone there. Okay. So anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this session, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys soon. See you guys.